Hey, hi guys, welcome all. Let's get started for today. So in our previous class, we told that we will be working with our Kubernetes shell. And when I say that I'll be working with Kubernetes shell, I was directly writing my imperative commands or my ad hoc commands, and I was trying to run them on the go. I told when you run imperative commands, there is another way also to operate, and that is your declarative way. In the declarative way, everything remains same, but the benefit what you get is you go and get more control. You can do many things, like the setup will still remain the same. Like there will be a container. On top of that, you will have a pod. On top of that, you will have a replica set. And on top of that, you will have your deployment. So this setup will remain as it is, like how it has been in my imperative way. But now I'll use declarative way. Now, when I say declarative way, what is the benefit I'm going to get with this guy? First and the foremost thing, you will be writing a YAML script. Now, if you write a YAML script or if you write a code, you can store that code in GitHub or any place like that. Now, whenever the code changes, you will come to know who made the changes and what were the changes done. This will be very beneficial for me. I can, at any point of time, trace my changes. But if you're running an ad hoc command, definitely you will not be able to trace your changes, like who made the changes, what was the changes done. All these things will never be traced in case you're running an ad hoc command. So we will go ahead and try to implement this. Now to implement this, I will take my Kubernetes shell. It is up and running. And let me say, I will go ahead and create a container now. So if I have to create a container, I will need a pod. So if I come to the official website of Kubernetes, okay, or simply if I say pods in Kubernetes, okay. So I can see there is a pod here. Let me go inside. It says pod is the smallest unit of work and most basic deployable app object in Kubernetes. A pod represents a single instance or multiple instances running in that cluster. So if I come here inside, where is the example? Yeah, this is the example. So let me open some Notepad++. Now, go to language and make it YAML. Now, there are 2-3 things which you should see here. First, this is a YAML syntax. How do you know it's a YAML and how will I learn YAML? So the first thing what you need to do is you need to do a comparison. YAML versus JSON versus XML. So these are the 3 major scripting languages. I'm not talking about shell scripting, but these are the 3 major languages which are being used today in your IT world. You will see either the coding language is YAML or XML or it is JSON. Just see here. If you simply go by the visuals, which one is looking better, you will see that XML is a bit complex. Okay. JSON is comparatively better, but YAML is the most simplest one which I can see here. The best thing about YAML is it is a key value pair. Key value pair in the sense there will be a key, colon, and then there will be a value to that. Let me say, I want to write a YAML thing. Okay. So the best is you can download some platform like Notepad++, or you can go with Visual Studio Code or any editor. With the help of editor, you will be able to get the color coding, and that will help you a lot in writing the code. So let me say I will want to write something. Okay. So let me say I will say ADDRES, address, colon. And then if you want to continue, that means you want to add more values to that, you can come here, use tab, and say at the same level, you can say something like this. Name, colon, space. Name, let me say. Okay. Then it is a continuation. So say address. Phone. Something like this. So if you see here, I will say this is a YAML file or this is a YAML coding. There are two important things. Key, colon, or key, colon, space, value. Key, colon, space, value. Okay. So I can see that working with these guys is comparatively easy. Okay. And suppose I have written something, but I'm not confident whether it is correct or not. So I can take this guy, go to online syntax validator, online YAML syntax checker or validator. And there you can put your code. And you can just go and check whether it is correct or not. If it is correct, it will give you yes. If there is a small mistake can be, see here, I have not given the space correctly. See here, I've not given the space correctly. Go. See here, it is throwing you an error. So when you're writing a YAML script, it is not a rocket science. It is not difficult. The only thing which you have to take care is the indentation, and everything should be in a key value pair format. So these two things are mandatory. It should be in a key value pair format and it should be properly aligned. So whenever you're writing, make sure that you give the spaces correctly and write everything in key value pair format. Suppose I have something like this. See here, servers, name is server 1, owner is John, created is this much, and status is this much. So suppose I have to write this. Suppose I have to write this. So I will say servers, colon, then one tab, hyphen, space, then say name, server 1, then owner, let me say John, then created, and then status, status. Now, there is nothing fixed here. Like here you should write address, or here it should be server. The key, there is no keyword here. Whatever you feel like, you write that. But the most important thing is this guy, space, colon, space, like this. So this way of writing is very important. Moreover, whenever you write anything, just go ahead and make a check. Do a check that whether it is correct or not. There are possibilities that you might have missed a space here. And because of that, it will throw you an error. Many times it may happen that your error is somewhere else and the problem is showing somewhere else. Like in my case, the problem is at line number 4, but it is showing at line number 5. So these cases may be there. So whenever you are writing the YAML script, you should be very careful. There is no shortcut or there is no different way of learning YAML. YAML can only be learned if you are writing those scripts. Okay. So I will be sharing a lot of scripts with you, but when you are writing those scripts, rather than just copy pasting, I would recommend that you go ahead and write those scripts. The moment you start writing these scripts, you will make error. You will come to know, okay, this is how it is done. Because in interview, there may be a question. Can you write a script for me? Can you write a simple YAML script for me? Something like that. Okay. In Terraform, in Kubernetes, the entire Kubernetes world works on YAML. Okay. So you need to know YAML thoroughly. Okay. And as I told, it will come only with practice. There is no keyword here. There is nothing to explain. It is only in a key value format, and the alignment should be done properly. That is all what we need to know in YAML. Moreover, on Kubernetes side, if we start writing these YAML files, there is a set pattern for that. Likewise, if I have to write a pod file, this is the set pattern, or this is the template. Now I took this template and I've kept it here. So I've kept it here. Now start with any file. Okay. Start with any file which you write. So we say these are scripts, or these are manifest files. You will also hear many places it will say manifest files. So these are the manifest files. Okay. Whatever manifest file you will write, it will have this kind of a format. The format will remain same. There will be an API version. The version will be told to you by Kubernetes itself. So Kubernetes keeps this upgrading. So maybe it is version V1 now. Sometime after you will see apps V1, beta V1. So they keep upgrading the version. So whatever is the latest version, according to this document, you have to take the latest version. But whatever it is, this stays, or this is the first line of my script. Now, when you go here and see kind, you will see what it is. Why are you creating this, or what is the kind of this? So this kind is pod. So this thing, API version is fixed. Kind is fixed. This value may change. This value may change. But these things, the one you see in highlighted dark blue color, are fixed. So the first one will be API version. Second one will be kind. Third one will be metadata. And the fourth one will be spec, or specification. This template remains as it is. You are running in EKS, you are running in GCP, you are running anywhere. This template will remain as it is. Nothing is going to change. Here, the values, definitely these values can change. So the first one will be API version. Second is kind. You say, what are you trying to create? So I'm trying to create a pod. Third one, if you see, I have just minimized it. I'll maximize it now. It talks about metadata. Metadata is nothing but data about this particular file. So this particular file, I've given a name as Nginx. You give any other name, Nginx 123, or say sample 123. It is up to you. So I'm repeatedly saying this value which you give, it is up to you what value you want to give. But the file, the template remains as it is. Then we come to the spec section, or the specification section. So I told you that when you're creating a pod, inside the pod, there can be containers. And when I say containers, there can be one container, or there can be multiple containers. Let me say there is one more container which we are trying to run. So this container, let me say, is MySQL. Okay. And I am running MySQL latest version. And let me say this runs at 8090 port number. Similarly, let me say you have one more port, one more container. Now this, let me say, is HTTPD. And I am taking HTTPD latest version. Okay. And this, let me say, it runs at port 8000. Okay. I'm just randomly doing some containers. I'm bringing some containers, and I'm trying to show you that all these containers, here I have 3 containers. All these 3 containers will go inside this particular pod, and the name of the pod will be sample 123. Now, if you see here, there is a hyphen. So hyphen denotes continuation. So containers, so there are 3 containers, 1, 2, and this is 3. And after ports also there is a continuation, so there is a hyphen. So whenever you see a hyphen, it means there is a continuation. Okay. So this, if I want to run, okay, first of all, I will go and check whether the syntax is correct or not. So again, I'll come to this online validator. Just check whether this syntax is correct or not. So it says it's a valid YAML. So now what I will do, I'll go back to my interactive shell, and here I will bring it up. Here I will say Minikube, here I will say Nano. So Nano is the editor. Okay, and you give any name of your choice. Let me say pod 123.yaml. You can give YAML or YML. Both are same. Okay, so either give YAML or give YML. Both are same. Your wish, what you want to give. So let's go and paste this guy, whatever we have. So this remains same, API version. This V1, V2 can change. Kind, I'm creating a pod. So again, this will remain same. Metadata, name will be there. You give a name of your choice. Spec, inside spec, I have containers. And in containers, you decide whether you want to go with one container in one pod or you want to go with multiple containers in one pod. I told you that in case you have multiple containers, you have to put all of them together inside that particular pod. Generally, the scenario is one container, one pod, like that it goes. But if you want to run it like this, yes, you can. So Control X, Y, enter. So if you come here, you will see I have created a file pod123.yaml. Now, based on what is written here, I will create a pod. So I will say something like this, kubectl. Okay. Now, if you're running it for the first time, you can put something like this, create. Okay. But it is only for the first time. Okay. Kubectl create -f, and the file name is pod123.yaml. So it will create a pod for me because in the kind I have told I want a pod, and it will start running. So here I get a message, pod sample123 is running. So if I come here and say kubectl get all, I will see there is a pod with the name sample123. Inside that, 3 containers are required, and these containers are in creating state, means they are still getting created. If I come back here, I can still see it is getting created. If I want, I can go inside this and see what is happening. So I will say kubectl describe, paste this guy. So you can see here, successfully assigned this thing to Minikube, Nginx is coming up. This has been pulled up. Then this MySQL has been pulled up. Then this HTTP latest has been pulled up. Then the container was started. So like this, if you see, all the activities are happening here step by step. So now if I clear everything, come back and say kubectl get all, you will see out of 3, 1 has gone, 4 times it has restarted. So basically it is trying to sync, which it is not able to, but it will do it in some time. So basically what I saw here is that there is a pod, and in this pod, I can write my script. Second time, let me say I made some changes. So I am coming here and I'm making some changes. I only want one container. Okay. These 2 extra containers are giving me problem. Okay. So I would like to remove them for time being. Okay. I'm removing them for time being. Control X, Y, enter. Now the pod which you created is already there. So if you come here and again run this command, kubectl up create -f, it will give you an error. It will say error from the server. It already exists, but I have made some changes. So what should I do? Rather than doing a create, you say apply. Means I want to apply some changes. Okay. So here it says pod sample123 has been configured. Okay. There is some warning. Okay. But you can, for time being, ignore the warning, and you can say pod 123 has been configured. Now, if you come here and say kubectl get all, you will see that now this is only one. It is running. So let me come here and see what's happening inside this container. So if there is a problem, what is the problem? Let me just go inside and check. Okay. So it is saying MySQL lit successfully assigned dissolve this thing. Started container MySQL successfully pulled HTTP natives. Backup starting failed. So basically it is trying to start everything. Okay, that's okay. kubectl get all. So I can see one container out of 3 is running and it has crashed basically. Okay. Later I will tell you how to debug and all. But as of now, if you just want to see what is happening, kubectl logs -f, and you can put this keyword sample. So it is saying nothing is there with sample. Let me say if there is some error. So ERR, ERR is also not there. Only go with E. kubectl logs -f. It's not showing anything. Okay, as of now, the log is not showing me anything, but let it be. I'll show you later if there is something in the log. So it's not able to capture anything. But as of now, I can see that I started with this guy. And I was trying to write a manifest file where I created a pod with the name as sample123. And inside that, I was trying to create all these things. Now, let me do one thing. Let me delete this guy, and keep it simple. And let me try to run this much only. To do that, I will do something like this. kubectl get all. Okay. And I will try to delete this guy. Okay. I will say kubectl delete this guy. Copy, paste it. So your pod is getting deleted. So it will take some time to delete everything. Okay, so it has been deleted. So if I come here and say kubectl get all, you can see everything got deleted. Now again, come to this guy, nano pod123.yaml, and here I'm going to run only that one piece because the other containers were giving problem to me for time being. I'll just run this guy. Paste. So I'm only running Nginx, and I'm running Nginx latest version. Okay, Control X, Y, enter. How to run that? So you can run it like this. kubectl apply. Now, because this is for the first time, I will go ahead and say create. If it is first time, then you can run create. It says pod sample123 has been created. kubectl get all. And you can see I have one container and this is up and running from last 7 seconds. Now let me say I feel like changing it. Okay. I feel like adding one more stuff here. So let me say copy, paste. So let me say I'm adding something like MySQL, or let me say Redis or Ubuntu, anything like this. Ubuntu, and I will take Ubuntu latest image. Ubuntu. The port should not be 80. Let me just give any other port number, 81. Control X, Y, enter. Now I've changed it. So I will go ahead and run this command again. Obviously, create will not work. So I should go ahead and say apply. This time it says is invalid spec containers. The pod may not be updated. Okay. Is missing kubectl applied configuration, which requires kubectl apply. Kubectl only be resources created by declarative either kubectl apply. This is correct only. I think the missing annotation will be patched automatically. So there is some item which is missing. Let me just check what is missing. I don't think so. This port number may be something which is causing a problem. Let me take this here and see what is missing. So it is throwing me a warning, and because of that, it is not running also. Wait, let me take this guy. Let me run some other image. Redis. Redis is a database. Redis. And this is latest. And let me say I'm running at 8080. Let me just check whether the syntax is correct or not. It looks like the syntax is correct. Go back here to my editor. And here, let's go ahead and change our content. Let me delete everything, whichever I don't need. Paste it. So I have two containers, Nginx and Redis, which I want to run together. Control X, Y, enter. Now let me just go ahead and say kubectl apply -f pod.123. Okay, the pod sample is invalid. Spec containers forbidden. Pod update may not add or remove the containers. Why is it showing so? Let me do one more thing. I think there is some problem. Kubectl delete. I'm deleting this pod as of now. Okay, I'll create it again. Syntax wise, it is correct. I don't know what's the problem here. No. kubectl get all. This is what I want to delete. Copy. Kubectl delete -f. Paste this guy here. Okay, this time the pod is getting created, and I'll delete it and I'll create it again with my new parameters. Let's delete this. Let's wait for this to get deleted. I don't know why it is taking so much time. There may be a problem with the system itself. Let's see. I don't know why it is taking so much time. Okay, finally it got deleted. And let's go ahead and say nano. Okay, so I have Nginx, and let me try another image. So the image is not getting compatible. This is what I feel. So let me just take out the port number from here. So this is what I have here. Okay, so basically I'm running two images, Nginx and Redis. Control X, Y, enter. Let's go ahead and say kubectl apply -f pod.123. This time it got created. So the port was conflicting. So every container has a default port number. So I was just trying to run it at a random port number. That's why it was not running. Kubectl get all. So I can see in my pod, there are two containers and both are running. If you want to go inside and check, you can come here and say kubectl describe pod, paste. You can see here 2 containers will be there. This is Redis latest, which is 1, and this is Nginx. Now, suppose I have a requirement where I want to add one more container. Okay, so I will go here, add one more container, copy, paste. So I'm just not giving any port number as of now. Let me say Debian. Debian is a operating system. Okay, so in your Control X, Y, enter. So now come here and say kubectl apply -f. Pod may not be updated, add or remove containers. Okay, it's saying you cannot update it like this. You need to either remove this and then do it, or you have to basically remove it. It's showing it, telling me just remove the container and run it again. So kubectl get all. This is what it is asking me to delete. Kubectl delete, and then you delete this guy. And after deleting it, you can create it again. So every time you are changing the configuration or specification, you are running this thing again. And you can say it has been created. Kubectl get all. So I can see there are 3 containers which will be coming up and it will be running. Now, the question which can be asked here is, why are you putting everything in a manifest file and you're trying to run? Why can't you run it in an ad hoc manner? So I am running this in a manifest way or in a scripted way because down the line, I would like to share it with my colleagues. Once I have done my work, I will put it in a GitHub repo or a place like this. And from there, I will start sharing it with my friends, okay, my colleagues. And the same set of code, they will also run and they can get the work done easily. So in production environment, this is how we work. As a developer, I will develop everything, I will write everything. And once my work is done, I will upload it to a GitHub repo. From the GitHub repo, the other developer will simply take it and run it. I'll show you one example and then I'll open it for questions. So let me say, like pod, I would also like to create something called deployment. So this is deployment. So if I come here, this is how my deployment looks like. Let me copy this content. Okay, now you remember this diagram which I told you, where I told the innermost layer is container. On top of the container, I have pod. On top of the pod, I have a replica set. And on top of that, I have, one second, my deployment. And I told if you directly create deployment, automatically the other things will be created. So let me just note it down somewhere for time being. Container followed by pod, followed by a replica set, followed by deployment or deployment. Both are same, deploy or deployment. Now, where can you show me that in the script? So if you see, the green one is container. So let me just come here. This portion talks about the container. So this portion is talking about the container. Okay. Then pod, where is the pod? So this guy template is talking about my pod. Okay. Then on top of that, there is a replica set. see here, there is something called replica set. One second. So this specification at the top is talking about replica set. And finally, if I put everything together, that's deployment for me. So when you write a manifest file, your manifest file will look something like this. So I just now showed you that the innermost layer is container. If you have one container, you keep one container. If you have multiple containers, you go and start writing as many containers you want. Okay. All the containers will follow after this. And this is the first container. If you have 5 other containers, you put it like this. Then on top of the container, you will have template. On top of template, you have replica, and then finally the deployment. Okay. Now this is the entire setup which I have. Now coming to the syntax. Now let me just relate it to this. If you have any question, please go ahead. I will just open it for a while so that if you have any questions, please go ahead. In case you have any questions which is apart from this, I will take later. But any questions which is related to this, let me know.
I thought that containers starts from spec, not from actual containers.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
That demarcation can be done by you. That is absolutely okay.
Okay, one more question. So I said that now we are speaking about deployment. Did we cover that before?
No. So deployment was covered before, because in yesterday's class, I was talking about deployment. I told that deployment is a blueprint. And when I was creating files yesterday, or when I was creating my deployments and all, I told that there is something called deployment. So yesterday in the class, we did a discussion on that.
Because
yeah,
after modifying the manifest file, right? So you deleted the existing part and recreate again, right?
Yes.
So in real time, so it won't be like that, right?
See, real time also it will be like that, because at any point of time, you will not be running only one pod. There will be multiple pods which will be running. Okay. So in case there is a problem with one of the pods, you delete them due to some reason, there's no harm, because the business continuity will go as usual, because there will be n number of pods which will be running. So if you have problem in one of the pods, nothing is going to harm you.
Okay. And also mine, like in any automated way to to get the image name, like, so every time the image name will get changed, right? So automatically, like every time, so this
Why will the image name change?
So for every modification or anything, version change. So if
then you have to change your manifest file. That's what I'm saying. So see, once you have deployed, that does not mean that it is like it will always be there. Suppose you deployed 1.13 version. Now they have come up with 1.15. You will have to do an upgrade.
Okay.
And sir, as of now, in the containers, we are putting all the softwares, right?
Obviously. See, containers is the same what you learned in Docker. Whatever you want, you put it inside the container. That is the same thing.
Okay. Is there any option for to store the data in the container?
Yes, there is persistent volume, which will come later.
Okay, persistent we are also done in the Docker, no?
Yes.
The same.
There we only say volume. Here we will say persistent volume.
Okay. Apart from the softwares, we can also do the data.
Data can be backed up by persistent volume. If you want to back up your software, you create an image of that and save it separately.
No. In the apart from software, also I wanted to store some data in the container.
Data means go for persistent volume.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, if we create containers by YAML file, so all containers
we
are
don't create by YAML file. Containers we create by Docker file.
So here we are what are creating? We are launching
creating a pod. We are creating a deployment.
Their container is also right.
Container, we are only using it, is already created. I'm not doing anything here. I'm just using it. The image or the container is already pre-existing. I'm not doing anything. I'm just taking that from wherever it is. It can be from your GCR, Docker Hub, wherever it is. I'm just picking it up. I'm not creating any container here.
Yes, so it is image of container. So we are launching the container image.
No, man.
Right.
No. Man, I'll suggest you one thing. From the day one you go through the recordings, if the concepts which we covered from day one is not clear, then the concepts which are discussing now will never, you will understand. And I seriously feel that the concepts are missing. Okay. So you will have to come from day one. You will have to understand what is a container, why we came to Kubernetes, and in Kubernetes, what is the purpose of using containers. So all these things were discussed in past. So I seriously recommend you understand that.
I already watched the recordings, but here we launching the container image, right? Nginx image. We are
only using it. See, come back to the day one where I was talking about Kubernetes. I told Kubernetes is a container orchestration tool. It means the containers will already be there. You are simply managing the containers using Kubernetes. I told, when you talk about Docker does not, hold on. When I talk about Kubernetes, I told Kubernetes will directly not deal with containers. So it will bring something called pod. So in this entire class, what we are doing is we first created a pod. When I create a pod, obviously there will be a container inside that, but that container is pre-existing. It is already somewhere else. So I'm not creating it again.
Right. So it is pulling from Docker Hub or GCR, right?
Okay. Yes.
So that there was only image, like in Docker run, we are launching image. So it is creating container, right?
Correct. Okay.
So in SAM here, we are fetching the Nginx image.
Okay.
Right, Docker Hub, from Docker Hub.
Okay.
And
Yes.
it is creating container.
Okay. Yes. But we don't say it is creating container. We say a pod is running, and inside the pod, the container is running.
Right. We don't say, but it is creating the container. Right. We are 3 container mentioned, so 3 container in one pods.
Yes, if you
Launching.
want, you can take it like that. But when we talk about Docker, we talk in Docker terminology. We don't say containers are running. Definitely inside the pod, containers are only running, but we say pods are running.
Yes. Okay. So here we are creating 3 container, 3 container in one pod. So they all are connected each other.
Yes, they are
in
all
same
connected.
network.
Yes,
Because
in the same network. Yes.
Here we have not mentioned any network.
No, not required. Docker network and all, you don't have to mention anything. Kubernetes will take care of all these things.
Okay, so we have to not link to each other.
Nothing you have to do.
So, or if we remove one container, all container.
You have to reconfigure everything. I just now showed you in the pod, there are 3 containers. If you want to reconfigure them, then you have to delete it and again you have to create it.
Okay, Vikas, thank you.
Okay, the replica set is also a container. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because like in this example, you have modified the containers, decreasing or adding the containers. So the apply command which you have executed, it was not doing well.
Yes.
So you created the you deleted the container and created the container again, created the pods again.
Yes.
So is this the thing? Or any mess happened, or is this is the usual thing we will do?
No, this is not the usual thing. So generally what happens,
it is only problem with the
It
Fourth
was
core
problem
method.
with that. See, the problem was that there is a pod which is already existing. On top of that, you were trying to do something. So it was not allowing me. Okay. So in real-time scenario, it
Yeah,
will not
I've got a
happen.
question.
I will show you now. When you run it at deployment level, this problem should not happen. Okay. So I will show you that.
Okay.
Because can you hear me?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Because the replica set is also a container.
No, replica set is just how many duplicates you want or how many pods you want. It's just a number. How many carbon?
But Nginx itself is must be some container, right?
Yes, Nginx is a container. Nginx is
yeah, but the way you have defined this yellow line is nothing but the replica set.
Replica set. The yellow line is a replica set.
Yeah, the replica set, it shows that it's a Nginx, right? Or
see, go by this. At the bottommost level, I have container. On top of that, there is a logical layer called pod. How many pods you want, that is decided by my replica set. And all these things put together goes inside my deployment. Okay.
Because how to go? We can go inside the container like we are creating Nginx container. So how to?
There is a command I used some time back, kubectl describe. So like that, you can go inside the pod. If you want to go inside the container directly here, you cannot go inside the container, but there are alternative ways. I'll show you how to do that.
No, we like in Docker, we run the command Docker interactive way. So we go in terminal like bin bash. So how to?
See, Docker is a different command. It comes from a different company. Okay. Kubernetes is a different tool. It comes from a different company. So if there is a feature X present in one software, I cannot say that feature X should be present in the other software also.
So how do we use our Nginx container?
If you want to go inside the container, I'll come to that. I told if there is something related to what I'm teaching right now, if you have any questions on that, please let me know. The rest I will talk about that in later classes.
So all these are done in the what you call playground only?
No. Are you talking about this interactive shell?
Yeah, interactive shell. What is this called?
No, this is interactive shell. I told that Docker Kubernetes can be installed anywhere. You can install it on a cloud environment. You can install it in your local machine. You can install it on a virtual machine. Anywhere you install. Wherever you install Kubernetes, these commands will run there.
Right. Currently, you have executed this example in which environment?
It is my Minikube environment. So this is what I'm working with.
Minikube. Okay. Thank you.
Vikas, here.
Yeah.
I have a small question. In future, if I want to change the replica set value,
yes,
so every time
I can do all these things. I'll show you just all those things.
Sure.
If I have to make changes, I will show you how to make those changes. Give me some time for that.
Sure. Also, one more small question. In Kubernetes terminology, we can call the whole process as a cluster, right? Means collection of pod, we can call it is a cluster. And
not only pod, you call everything. A master node, worker node, pod, everything together. You say it's a Kubernetes cluster.
Okay. And one pod contain multiple containers.
One pod can have multiple containers, or one pod will have only one container. It is your wish. Now, the way you write your manifest file, let me show you that. It is gone. Okay, let me refresh the screen.
So the number of replica set we are defining, no, that the numbers will be created only for containers, right?
Don't go by containers. Go by the number of pods.
Pods. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, let me show you this. Give me 1 second for this. So there are 2-3 questions which I can take it like this only. Cube start. Let this start. Okay, so there are 2-3 questions here, okay, which I'll take just now. First is, I have created a pod, and after creating the pod, I decide to change that. Okay, how can I do that? First, we'll take that. Second is, if I create a replica set, later I want to change it. How can I do that? Okay. Similarly, if I want to change the image, how can I do that? So these 3 things, let me show you, and then I will move further. Let this come up. This is done. Okay, now first thing is I'll create my file. So let me say it was pod123.yaml. This is my file, and this is what I started with. Okay, as of now, if you see, only one container is there. Okay, and the replica set is 3. The replica set is 3. Now let me go ahead and say kubectl create -f, and you say pod123. So it will create a deployment for you. Okay, now as of now, if I come here and say kubectl get all, I can see 3 pods are running. Okay, and inside each pod there is 1 container running as per my definition. As per my definition, the replica set is 3, and this is my deployment. Now I would like to make some changes. I will come here and say I need 5 replica set. Okay, come here and say kubectl apply -f. So you have made some changes. You want to apply that. Apply -f. So here kubectl apply -f, and here it is giving you a warning. Just ignore that warning, and you can go ahead and say kubectl get all, and here you can see 2 containers, 12 seconds, 12 seconds. So these came up just now, and my deployment file also has been updated 5,5, and similarly my replica set also became 5. Now let me clear all these things. Now suppose you want to change the number of files here, or let me say you want to change this guy. The image which I'm using is 1.1412. Let me say you want to change this as latest image. Okay, Control X, Y, enter. Okay, before running this, I'll show you something. See here, 5 containers. See here, replica set is 5. Okay, and the replica set is this DD5. I have made some changes in my file. Now I'll apply it. kubectl apply -f pod123. So it says the deployment has been configured. Come back here, get all. See here, all the older these things, okay, are getting deleted. So in some time you will see new containers are coming up. See here, 5 second, 5 second, 5 second, and the old ones will get deleted. One very important thing which you will see here is, see, the old replica set is getting deleted and a new replica set is coming up. It came up in last 5 seconds. This time, if I come back here and say kubectl get all, you will see here, all the old containers got deleted. All the old containers got deleted. These are just came up some 20-30 seconds back. And see here, the old replica set, which was running from 2 minutes 32 seconds, that is also gone. And a new set of replica is coming here. And if you go inside the pod, wait. And if you go inside the pod, kubectl describe pod, and you go inside describe pod paste. And you describe the pod, you will see as of now, they are running, but running with Nginx latest image. Now, Control X. Now, let me say, I want to make one more change. Here, you want to add one more container. Okay, something like this. Copy. Paste. So let me say, I want to run another image, Debian. Debian is an OS. And this port I don't want because this was what was causing problem for me. Okay, so I'm running Debian and Debian latest image. Control X, Y, enter. Come here and say kubectl get all. And now run this. Now it says it has been configured. If you quickly go and check, the old containers will be terminated. See here, the old containers which were running from 2 minutes are getting terminated and new containers are coming up. Not only that, if you see here, the old replica set, which was running from 2 minutes, 4 seconds is getting deleted and new one is coming up. So let me clear all these things. Come back here again and say kubectl get all. So now you will see the old containers are deleted. These are getting deleted and the new containers are coming up. See here, these are the things which are coming up. And here in my replica set, it says I requested for 3 are currently running. And no, out of 5, it's saying out of 5, 4 are ready, 3 are up to date, 4 is available. So it is taking care of the availability. It is not terminating all your instances at the same time. It is terminating one by one. So I told you that when we do a deployment, there is something called rolling update. So I said one container will be created, fully functional, and then only the other containers will be touched. So I talked about the deployment strategy. So if you come here, you will see this thing happening. So here it is as of now crashing. There is some problem with these containers, but you can see these new containers are coming up. Not only that, you can see the old deployment is getting terminated and a new deployment will come up. So at a deployment level, I can change whatever I want.
When do we go for multiple replica sets?
Multiple replica sets, we don't go, rather we go with multiple images. So I never went with multiple replica set. The replica set will always remain a fixed number. Obviously, if the load becomes more, let me say, my one server is capable of taking 10 users, 100 users came. So I need 10 into 10, 10 into 10 equal to 100, 10 servers. So at that time, I will make my replica set as 10. This kind of a setup is something which we learned when we were talking about Docker Compose. We told that there are 3 containers which want to run together. They don't want to run individually. Rather, all of them want to run together. So in that kind of a scenario, you will go ahead and go with multiple images. But the recommended setting always is one pod, one container. Okay. Obviously, if you have a business requirement where you say, no, I need more containers, then you can go with multiple containers, but always it is recommended one pod, one container. All these things, whatever you see here, can be changed. Obviously, these are keywords like API version, kind, metadata. These are keywords. So we will not be changing these, but at least this number 5, this name Nginx deployment, this apps v1, all these things we can change. In the coming class, I will again talk about this in further detail, like what does this label stand for? When you say app label, what do you mean by that? If I want to put multiple containers, how to make them run? And here in a scenario like this, kubectl get all. In a scenario like this, when my container is crashing, there is a crash loop back off, means this container is not able to run. how to debug this. kubectl describe. So this is my pod, which is actually crashing. See here. This is okay. This is okay. So here you see created pull schedule. So here, so there is a back off happening, restarting failed of the container. So it is trying to restart Debian and Nginx together, but because they don't have a link, they are not able to start together as one single unit. Okay. So when you find something like this, how to fix this problem, we will be taking in the coming class. But as of now, the takeaway from today's class will be, I start with a declarative way where I start writing a manifest file. I have a standard pattern. I cannot change that pattern. Key value format with proper indentation. The values can change, but the key remains as it is. Okay.
So that will be in the real time.
It will be a real
scenario,
time.
right?
It will be the real
And
time.
sir, here one doubt again. In single pod, I can make a number of images, right?
Put any number. That's what
based on the. Is there any specific hard disk requirement?
No.
I mean, internal.
Whatever is the capacity of your machine, based on that it will take. There is no hardware or any requirement.
Okay.
Let me say Redis.
Right. Because I think we have to link containers. So then after we able to create multiple containers.
It doesn't go like that. There, it will be automatically done. Don't worry about that. I will show you how it is done. Doesn't go like
that. And because we are declaring replica set 3 in top, and how to it is recognize which container replica we have to 5 or, because we in bottom we are to container.
I am seriously not able to understand why are you going at container level. When I'm saying Kubernetes, stay at a pod level. When I say replica as 3, I am saying 3 pods will be running. Okay. When I say replica as 5 pods will be running. Inside those pods, you can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, any number of containers. That is not at all a problem here.
So replicas is a number of pods.
Yes,
right?
that's it. Replica of pods. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Where it is mentioned that cluster information here.
Cluster information means your master node, worker node kind of thing you're asking?
Yeah, means it is like now deployment is one cluster. It's complete. Okay. We cannot create more than one cluster in this, right?
Yes. Minikube is one cluster only. Minikube is one cluster only.
So it will be deployment, one deployment.
Yes, it will be one. No. If you want, you can create more deployments. That is not a problem. Wait.
Same deployment can be created.
Yes, you can create any number of deployments. kubectl get all. See here, this is my deployment. Copy. kubectl describe this deployment, paste it here. See here. So when you go ahead and say kubectl describe my deployment, okay, this will say that this is your name of the deployment. Okay, the strategy is rolling update, and here you will see it is controlled by your. Wait, let me come to the pod. In the pod, it will be mentioning. Copy. kubectl this. kubectl describe paste. So if you come to your pod, okay, here you will see that it is running inside this particular node. Okay, so it is a minikube. Minikube means one machine. It will act as master, worker, everything is there. So here, this is only my cluster, and this particular thing is controlled by my replica set. So the pods are controlled by my replica set. And inside the pod, I can see there is image 1, which is this up and running. and there will be these default volumes and all will be there. But as of now, I'm not talking about that. As of now, I'm only talking about this guy. It is controlled by my replica set, and this is my node at which it is running. Node is nothing but here you can say it is my master node. You can also say it is worker node, because at the end of the day, it is a mini queue where master and worker are at same place.
Sir, why it is controlled by replica set?
Pods
It
will
should
be
be
controlled
main.
by, I told, right? Pods will be controlled by replica set.
Okay,
So
for replica
because
set and pod, it will be deployed.
Yes. For replica set, it will be deployment. So hierarchy is something like this. All the containers will be controlled by pod.
Understand.
Replica set will control the pod, and deployment will control the replica set.
yeah, so
Each
because
replica set having one deployment file.
Each replica set, no man.
Okay, one
Here
deployment
you-
having under.
Correct. One deployment having 3 replica set. You can put it like this.
This hierarchy only we are missing, sir. That's why this many questions are coming up.
yeah, so because here in the manifest file you are giving containers, right? So 2 containers or a number of containers. So in the replica set, 3 means in the pod 3 containers will be applied with 3 replica sets. Correct?
Wait. This is a deployment. Okay. I said replica set is 3.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. So replica set means 3 means how many pods you want. So I need 3 pods. P1, P2,
yeah,
P3. Now inside pod, what you want to run? There is 2 images, Nginx, Redis. So one container is Nginx, one is Redis. Similarly here also, Nginx, Redis. Nginx, Redis, like this.
Yeah, clear now. Thank you.
So the topmost layer is my deployment. Then replica set means how many pods you want, 5, 10, 20, 100. So I told 3. So 3 pods are running, and in each pod, those many containers are running.
Yeah, clear now. Thanks.
If any pod is having problem, so
there is
it
a
will
concept.
complete will go down, or
no, it will not completely go down. Suppose this is having a problem. Okay, in that this container is having a problem. If you see the file, one second. See here. If you see here, not here. Wait here, not here. In the deployment, if you see, the strategy is rolling update. Okay, and the strategy says 25% max will be unavailable, 25 max will surge. Means if some changes has to happen, only 25% of them will go for the change. Rest of them will still be working. Okay. So later I will teach you there is a concept of auto healing. So the pods, if they crash, the containers inside the pod, they crash, they will try to auto heal themselves. There is a concept of restart. Means automatically it will try to restart and make sure that it is somehow becoming healthy. But even if by doing all the effort, it is not becoming healthy, then we will be using some monitoring tool like Prometheus, Grafana, which will tell me the health of the cluster. Like, okay, this is gone, this is not running, this is that. From there, you will have to go and intervene and make it up and running. So basically, you have to go inside and check what went wrong and how can you fix that issue.
So
pod
in the
level,
rolling
it will give that information.
Yeah, Prabhakar, go back.
It pod level, it will give that information.
Yes, yes. When you start monitoring, it will give you all the information at pod level.
And sir, in the rolling update, 20%, 25% will be go for the update, and the rest will be in the same stage. As soon as the 25% will get completed, again this which is in the stage, that again will go back, right?
Next 25% will go for update, like that.
Okay, so overall 100% will be get updated overall.
Okay. Okay, fine. See you then, guys. Bye-bye.